Hello and welcome back to MRTV Business. This is the Pico Neo 2i, a VR standalone headset for the enterprise market. It's being tracked with 6 degrees of freedom for the headset itself as well as for the two controllers. And it offers interesting functionalities like eye tracking for this model, and also it can stream SteamVR content wirelessly directly into the headset. If you want to find out more about the headset, check out my unboxing, which you can find out here. In this video, I'm bringing you an interview with Leland Hedges, who is the general manager of Pico Interactive for the EMEA region. And all of this is coming up. Welcome back again to MRTV Business. My name is Sebastian, and on this channel I show you how VR and AR can help your business grow. If you want to directly get in touch with me, simply check out the description of this video. All the contact details are there. But now let's directly delve into the interview with Leland Hedges. And it's my pleasure to have Leland Hedges here. Leland, good to have you here. Leland, you are the general manager of Pico Interactive for EMEA region, right?
Correct, yep, that's it.
Amazing. Thanks so much for your time. Glad to have you here. And today we're going to speak about your new product. It is the Pico Neo 2 and the Pico Neo 2i that I have here. Probably you could quickly tell the audience what these headsets are about and for who they are.
Sure. So the Pico Neo 2 platform, which includes the standard and the Eye, are for enterprises looking for more immersive VR content experiences. A lot of those experiences will be delivered through a native application that runs on the headset, and some of the applications will be delivered through either wired or wireless tethering to a PC. We've been in this business for over 3 years, and I think the reputation of Pico is built on our 3DoF headsets, which we want to talk about today. Those headsets are for are optimized for cost and scalability and ease of use. And can you deploy 30 headsets in a classroom or 200 headsets on a roller coaster? Those kind of projects. This is the first serious attempt where we think we can work with collaborative, interactive design, real estate, automotive type applications, which tend to be fewer numbers of users, but a much deeper level of interactivity. So this is our, what we hope your audience will come to appreciate about the product. You know, this is the most cutting edge 6DoF built for business product available on the market today.
Very interesting. So really, let's drive this point home. This is a device for business applications. So if businesses want to get something like a VR headset that can do 6 degrees of freedom with two controllers, then this is the device. And well, this is wireless and standalone. Probably we need to make this very clear. Now, this is nothing like the HTC Vive Pro. This is wireless. This is something very comparable to the Oculus Quest in this moment, right?
Yeah, I mean, there has been, since the very beginning of VR, the businesses who have been doing VR usually have had two opportunities to use VR. One is very, very low quality, like cardboard, and then we had the phone insert. And then Pico and Oculus and a few other companies have been making standalone 3DoF headsets. Now we think with the Neo 2, this is the time for standalone 6DoF VR headsets for business. And so a lot of people have to make a migration from tethered PC VR experiences, and that migration is going to be challenging for some people because if you want to make your application run native on the headset, you're having to think about a totally different world in terms of performance. So there's the native applications that work on the headset using the local compute, and that's an 845 processor, which is the most advanced processor in any headset available on the market. And then, as we talked about, if you are willing, if you're able to, if you've already invested in a very expensive gaming PC or high-end enterprise PC, you can connect it to this headset wirelessly or through a cable. But then you're talking about that very expensive setup process, and you're dealing with, your costs are going to be much higher.
I think, yeah. Okay, I think this part is really, really interesting. So I'm working together with companies, I'm consulting companies on XR, on VR and AR, and I often hear they already have their applications. They build their applications, their SteamVR applications, their OpenVR applications, but they want to migrate to wireless, right? They don't like to be bound to this computer. They might travel to another client and show what they have. But with these wireless setups, with these wired setups, it's really tough for them to do this. So this is basically, this could be a solution because it can connect to a computer wirelessly and play that SteamVR content. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, you have to also, I'm sure you'll talk about later, there are complexities with Wi-Fi networks and setting them up and making sure they're configured correctly. I would say that this device has the most flexibility because it can do really top class native applications built for the standalone headset. And those, all that you have to do is power up the device and you're able to immediately jump into that content. So I think still, if the partners that you're consulting with, advising, want to have the easiest process for their end customer, making the application run native on the headset is the best. But for people who are trying to migrate from a world of tethered PC VR and need to do it in stages, obviously you can do it in two parts. One is immediately get one of these headsets, connect it wirelessly to your existing SteamVR applications, and at least you've removed the cable. And then you could work with your developers and look at all the native applications that are already available on the Pico store. Maybe some of them offer similar functionality to what you've been using on the PC. And eventually you should think about, you have a choice. You have kind of lower performance native applications which can run directly on the headset, and then you have higher resolution applications that will run off of a second device. Currently a PC, but as we may talk about, everyone's roadmap in VR includes 5G connectivity. So someday the PC may just be sitting in a server farm somewhere, and everything will run off the headset as if it's native.
Right, the cloud XR future is upon us. It's very near, actually, right? Thanks to what NVIDIA had been showing us. So, but still, I think, okay, let me tell also the audience, I have this device since a couple of days, and I've connected it to my computer, and I've connected it to my wireless network. Configuration, I did have some roadblocks to go through, like the firewall was in the way, so I had to open some ports. But after this was done, I could basically simply use all of the SteamVR apps, and I must honestly say I also tried some games on it. I tried them all on this device, and everything worked like a charm, just like as if it was like a native SteamVR headset, which I found pretty impressive, especially looking at the quality of the picture. The quality of the picture is really nice. This is a 4K display, and you can tell that there's a big difference as compared to, for example, the Oculus Quest or the Index or other headsets on the market. This really does look better. So for all people who are wondering, does this look good? Yes, it does look good, and it does simply connect to your SteamVR applications, which I think is a pretty important feature for clients who want to use their SteamVR applications still in a wireless mode. Cool, very nice. Leland, probably you could tell us a bit more about the device itself and what kind of thoughts did you have when you built this? Like, for example, it is connected, you have two controllers, two 6 degrees of freedom controllers, but the interesting part is that these controllers are not tracked optically, like for example in the Rift S or in the Quest. Instead, you went for electromagnetic tracking, which also works fine. So, but still, I would like to ask you, Why did you go for this kind of solution? Is there any kind of thought behind that?
Sure. So what's old is new, and what's new is old. Electromagnetic as a way of positional tracking is a very robust technology. It's even been around VR since VR's inception. I mean, if you go back to the DK1 days, there were people working on, before Oculus headsets even had true 6DoF tracking, there were people working on peripherals and controllers that could be 6DoF. Anyway, so the electromagnetic as a technology is reliable. It's used a lot in other industries, like medical uses it, for instance. So we knew the technology was applicable to VR. We thought it was. We had done testing. We had an earlier headset. There's a reason that it's called the Neo 2 and not the Neo 1. And that headset had, let me turn on a light because the backlighting that I have is on out. There we go. So we had a Neo 1, and the Neo 1 used a different tracking system, which was ultrasonic. And we also had tested a lot with optical tracking. So to do really great optical tracking, you need a lot of cameras, and that's a performance overhead that you have to manage. And then Chirp also, which is the ultrasonic, has some interference issues and also requires a fair amount of cost. You need to, the quality of the tracking increases the more ultrasonic sensors you have to detect. And we looked into it, and using electromagnetic coils, here's the other product that is using a very similar technology. It's Magic Leap. So if you want to know who else in the market has also been developing adjacent technology, that's Magic Leap. So anyway, we knew that it would be occlusion free, and we knew that it would result in pretty good accuracy, and it offered a way for us to use less cameras on the headset, which keeps costs down. So as a technology trade-off, we thought it was the right tech to invest in at this point in time. And also the controllers, they're wireless, so being able to recharge them, and they get like 5 or 6 hours of operation. They're bulky. That's the one downside to electromagnetic, is that you have a weight. It's a heavy technology, and it has heat that needs to be dissipated. But in general, we were very happy with the final where we were able to get to in terms of the controller tracking, accuracy, and build quality.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, it works really well, I must say. So another question that came up when I was thinking about the controllers and they being tracked magnetically. How is it when like 2 or 3 of these devices are together? Would they kind of interact with each other and somehow hamper the tracking?
So I only know this because we do a lot of work with LBE, and LBE is location-based entertainment. That's the number one first question they will ask about the headset.
That's why I asked you.
Yeah, how many of them can be in the same location?
Right.
I don't want to slaughter this. It's so it's 22 channels, I believe, or it could be 23 or 21. But anyway, it's around 11. It's more than 10 headsets can be operated in the same location at the same time.
Okay,
so
perfect.
That covers, most LBE people are looking at 4 or 5 or 6 simultaneous users. Sometimes people are looking at like teams of 2 or teams of 4, but we've found that and also if you're willing to operate 1 controller per headset, you can scale that way. But yeah, let's say around 10 headsets in a shared space is reliable and has been done by people so far.
Right. All right. That's great. So other than that, I would say what I personally think is interesting about the device is that the battery is actually in the back department. It's at the back of your head, which kind of makes this like more balanced than other headsets that I've tried, which are standalone. Okay, let's say out the Quest. So, I believe that this was done intentionally for the balance, right? Just to take off the weight from the front of the device and to
all Pico headsets have the battery in the back.
All right. Okay.
So we've been since the original Goblin and the G2 and the Neo and now the Neo 2. As long as there is a battery that you need to wear on your head, I mean, maybe we'll come up with a better system at some point. But right now, this style of industrial design is, let's just put, the best form of flattery is when other people start copying you. And obviously the HoloLens 2 also has the battery in the back.
Yeah, from the side, actually, this looks exactly like the HoloLens 2, actually. Yeah. Right, okay. I personally really like this design, and it really is comfortable. It really gives you this balance that you would need to wear this for longer amounts of time. So talking about how long you can wear this, so how long does the battery last on a full charge with this device?
Yeah, I mean, obviously the other variable that I don't know is how demanding is the application that you're using. We would say between 2 to 3 hours. It depends on the use case. Like for our 3DOF headsets, which also are rated for around 3 hours worth of use, when you're using them at a place like a trade show where they're being picked up and then they're put down and they have an opportunity to go into sleep, then the headset can easily last like 5 hours. But let's say 2 hours of straight continuous use and 2 to 3 hours is if you wanted to keep the headset on the whole time.
Okay, all right. And then we have like a USB-C connection here on top to charge the device. And I'm wondering, could you probably like have it run on a battery pack? Let's say if you need to be in this for 6 hours, could it work like with a battery pack connected to it?
I believe, but I need to. We could easily, for any formal review that you did in writing, we could verify this. I think there's a port somewhere on the headset that allows you to charge it and operate it.
Okay, yeah, here's another port actually in the very back.
I think that is where you can run.
Okay, right. So there's another port here in the back of the headset where you could probably add some energy while you use it.
But again, the whole point of standalone is the ability to is that it has it's completely
you don't need wires. That makes sense.
Like,
of course.
You put it. I mean, I go and I do meet people. I go to meetups. I do we trade shows or whatever. Right. You put one of these things in your backpack and you just take it out. You hit the power button. You're good to go. So
sure.
It's always there's always a tension, which is people want to connect it to a power source and then want to add other, let's say, Bluetooth or USB-C peripherals. And then some of the elegance of a standalone device, the more it's connected to other things, the less you miss out on a lot of the advantages of standalone.
Got it. But anyways, if probably people want to connect their special things, they probably could, because this is based on Android. Right, so when you look into it, when you look a bit deeper into the settings, you will see that this is completely based on Android. So I suppose if you would have that special accessory that you want to use with it for location-based entertainment or what, probably you could easily connect it based on Android. Is that correct?
So yeah, there's two elements of what you need to be able to support these additional peripherals, if you want to call them that. And you're 100% right. There are a lot of connection options. So there's Bluetooth and there's USB-C, are both open to developers. So we have there are two industries where there's a lot of people who need some other device to work in unison with the headset. In medical, there's a lot of people who have like heart rate monitors, brain wave imaging. Like there is a whole entire world of other other ways to sense things that people are experiencing, that when you connect it to VR, you start having really amazing multi-layered data about a patient, let's say. So in the world of medical, a lot of medical partners for Pico will partner a Pico device with a second, will connect through Bluetooth or through a cable a second device. And the same with location-based entertainment. In the case of location-based entertainment, a lot of people are trying to add additional tracking systems or controllers or all kinds of other peripherals that need to be connected and can be piggyback on the battery that's already in the headset, for instance.
All right, great. I'm just looking at the device, and what I also see is an SD card reader, so people can put their own content also via SD card. Or what exactly is the main purpose of this SD card reader? Or how do people use it? How do customers use it?
Sure. So it serves two purposes. One, it's a great way. It's a very efficient way to update content on the headset if you needed to deploy like a lot of. So the headset has 128 by internal memory. And then the SD card can, on the one hand, it can be a great way to update the system, update the content. And on the other hand, it can just be a surplus storage. So there are applications and use cases where, I mean, 128 is a lot of, you would think it would be hard to fill up 128. But there are, again, back to LBE, like there are people who want to offer the end customer like thousands of hours worth of video content, for instance. And so being able to expand the storage by another 256, you're talking about 3 times more storage than what you started with. So expanding the storage, number one. Number two, it's a convenient way to upgrade the devices or update the content.
Okay, that makes lots of sense. Then looking at the device, you will see 2 cameras here. These 2 cameras are, I suppose, the reason they will be used for the tracking of the headset itself, right?
Yep.
And I'm also wondering, is there some kind of pass-through mode? Well, I saw it actually when I was setting it up, right? I saw my environment, and I could paint the Guardian, like it kind of reminded me of what we see with the Quest and the Rift S, basically exactly the same, honestly speaking. So, but anyways, could that be used from a programmer, or could that be used from a customer for some other things? Let's say hand tracking. Is it something like this possible with these, or would you allow those developers to make use of these cameras?
You managed to sneak in the more challenging question at the end, so let me answer the first question.
Okay.
So pass-through is available, and you will experience it when you're setting up the Guardian system. And the thing that we listen to and the way that we set our roadmap for our SDK is based on, I mean, a big difference about Pico is that we prioritize the requests of business customers, right? So so far we have heard some interesting ideas about functionality that would involve pass-through and very, very light form of AR, MR, however you want to define it. And we're looking into that. On the topic of hand tracking, we, with only 2 cameras and what we need the cameras to do for the head tracking, currently do not think we can produce an acceptable level of hand tracking performance just using those 2 cameras. So we will continue to investigate hand tracking, but probably for us, hand tracking would require new hardware.
Okay.
So at this time, we've been asked a lot about hand tracking. It's a very interesting input method. I think there's a huge element of wow in the consumer side, and everything that Oculus has done with hand tracking is incredibly impressive at a engineering technical level. For the businesses that we're working with, back to the last question that you asked about, can you connect other peripherals? The fact that we're so open and flexible about pairing our headset with another Bluetooth device or connecting some kind of heart rate monitor through the USB-C cable, like we are hearing or we are working more with customers who are looking for that kind of flexibility than we see. We hear everything about hand tracking, but we don't think we can deliver something that is good enough with this headset to be a good investment of our time.
All right, this is a great answer. Okay, cool. So now I would like to talk about the two different versions of this headset. So the Pico Neo 2 and the Pico Neo 2i. So I have the Pico Neo 2i here, which includes eye tracking. And that's very interesting, especially for the business use case, for different kinds of things like analyzing where customers will look at when they see things in virtual reality, and many things, many different things, and many interesting applications have been written for this. So you're actually using the Tobii Eye Tracking. Now I'm wondering if there is some software, or the customer has already some software written for SteamVR which uses Tobii Eye Tracking. Will that automatically work using the SteamVR streaming method?
No.
Okay.
So the Tobii Eye Tracking that's built into the headset is part of the Pico SDK, which needs to be written for the headset.
All right. Got it.
Right. So let's be 100% clear. What's happening on the connection between the PC and the headset? The only thing that's sent to the headset is the frames from the PC, and then the headset is sending back the head position and the controller position, and any relevant button, any other input information that's relevant. All of the application is running on the PC. The application has no idea that it's like another monitor. It's just a different, from the PC perspective, the Pico device is another display, is kind of the very, very simple answer.
All right.
So there's no, at least today, there isn't any way for the PC to even know that the headset has the Tobii Eye Tracking functionality.
Right. Okay, good. Good to answer that question. I believe that's really interesting and important for people to understand this, that you're streaming. It's really streaming the SteamVR content. But probably that would be very interesting to find out if you had any chance to somehow bring the eye tracking information also through the stream. But yeah, probably you have to ask your engineers about that one. Anyway, so the Tobii Eye Tracking, they have lots of work to do. The Tobii Eye Tracking, it can be used. So if you make programs especially for this device, that's a way to use it, right? Okay.
And there are two different levels of there's what comes included with the hardware, which is the standard Tobii SDK. That covers two main things, which is some eye tracking information about what the eye is looking at. So, and then the second is foveated rendering, which is implementing a way to improve the performance of the headset. So basically, well, anyway, I'm sure you have in other places talked about foveated rendering, and maybe you can link to an article that explains it. But this headset supports foveated rendering, and then it also gives you basic positional data of the eye. But then Tobii has a premium SDK, an advanced SDK, and a lot of additional analytic packages that are possible through this advanced SDK, which can really start giving you, is where you start getting into the really rich data about, it's used in like shopping, virtual shopper stuff, or medical stuff. So to be clear, for most people, the standard SDK is going to be good enough, but then there are people in academia or people who are doing certain forms of like market research or medical applications that probably will have to go to Tobii and do an agreement with Tobii to gain access to the second SDK, which is the Tobii Advanced SDK.
All right, got it. So let's say I'm a customer and, well, I'm using headsets, for example, for in-flight entertainment or in-bus entertainment. And let's say, I want to allow the users of these apps to select something with their eyes. Then they can simply use this device, and then they can include the Tobii Eye Tracking into their apps that they make for the device.
Yeah, exactly. So what you just said, gaze-based navigation.
Yeah, right, gaze-based.
Like if you're making an application where you want the other avatars to make eye contact with the user. So there's stuff you could do in Unity and Unreal that's very interesting in terms of interactivity. Like if I look at an object on the desk and the heat map has been programmed correctly, then you could have the program basically trigger something that says, oh, I see you're looking at that. Like if you're doing like HR training and somebody looks somewhere where they shouldn't, or they should have looked somewhere that they didn't, you can actually tell what they're looking at, and then you can program the application to dynamically say, hey, you need to look over here. That kind of stuff.
Right. Could it also be used to save energy? Because, well, foveated rendering, you would only need to fully render the parts where you look at, right? So the other parts don't have to be rendered in its full glory. Is it something that could save some energy and have the device run longer?
Yeah, I mean, you as the developer, that's why when you said how long does it run, I said between 2 or 3 hours. You have a lot of trade-offs, especially when you start talking about foveated rendering, around whether you want to push a lot more pixels. So do you care about how heavy your scene is? Or you're going to get a performance advantage. You have to choose whether you invest that performance back into the visual quality of your content, or whether you keep that performance advantage and use it to extend the battery life. Those are some of the basic trade-offs every developer is going to have to make with a standalone device. And then with foveated rendering, you're either getting better battery life or better visuals.
All right, get it. So these two devices, the Pico Neo 2 and the Pico Neo 2i, they are available actually starting from now. And right? They, like businesses, they can go to your website and they can get in touch with you about getting those devices. So the Pico Neo 2 is cost $699 and the Pico Neo 2i $200 more, right? Are these the correct prices?
Those are U.S. prices.
All right.
We don't,
okay.
One of the advantages of operating as an enterprise-focused business is you can come to our website, or you can find me on LinkedIn, or you can. I'll give you my email. You have my email. You can share it at the end, or in the notes or something.
Right.
You reach out to us. We sign an NDA, a confidentiality agreement. Then we would provide you with two things after we've entered into a formal, relationship. First, we need to verify that you're a business. That's very important to us. So we know that there's a lot of appetite, especially for the Neo 2, among what I would call prosumers or
gamers.
VR enthusiasts,
right,
gamers.
Right. Yeah.
For the time being, our consumer strategy is focused on China. We want to be the #1 headset manufacturer in China for both business and consumer. Outside of China, we want to work with enterprises. So we will verify that you're a business. Then we will send you information like pricing, like availability, delivery times, customization options. And then also we will extend to every customer, if they want it, a loan device. So every enterprise developer that can prove that they've got a valid business application in mind that uses VR, that will get a loaner for 6 weeks. During that 6 weeks, you get access to free technical support from Pico. And the engineers that you'll be speaking with, if you have a problem, are able to go, if you send them your project, they will go and look at the code and try and help you out if you need it. So we think those are the things that really differentiate us from some of the other headset manufacturers. And we like how we're able to work directly with partners and support them and try and hear directly from the market, like what is it that people where can we improve our SDK? How can we make better hardware? It's a very positive feedback loop right now.
Right, I understand. So I suppose if you would now sell this to consumers all over the world, you could not actually give them this kind of support. Like today I had a problem, I could not connect this wirelessly, right? But within a day, the problem was solved by email support actually. So I suppose that's something that you could not do if you suddenly would sell this to all the consumers who want to have this. Is it also a reason why this is now enterprise-based, focused?
Yeah, so the challenge of support is the #1 challenge. I used to work at PlayStation, and the day after Christmas, was the single busiest day for the support team.
Of course, yeah.
Because instead of opening up the PlayStation, doing the updates, installing the software, then putting it back in the box, and then your kid opens it up, everybody opens up the product on the same day.
Right.
We are a very, we just have a focus, and we can support only so many people at the level of support that we want to be able to offer. There are other companies out there who really view the consumer market as their opportunity and what they want to do. And if we were to offer our headsets through traditional like retailers and Amazon and everything, you would never have the kind of direct Pico support that you just experienced. It would all be done through distributors and intermediaries. And so we really, as long as we can, we'd like to continue to work directly with our customers.
I understand. So very clear, reason why you're not selling this right now to VR enthusiasts. And actually there is an appetite. I could tell from my channels, I get people asking me and being very excited about this device. And I must say, I can understand why they are excited, because this really is a nice headset. All right, but anyways, let's stay on business here. So how big does a business need to be in order to make business with you? So is 5 units too few, or is 2 okay, or does it have to be 20 units? Tell me a bit more about this.
I mean, I was just presenting a week ago at the VR ARA, and I talked about this as well. So the first phase of working with Pico is getting the loan unit, signing the NDA, and figuring out whether our hardware is going to work for your application. Then the second phase is doing a project, a small project. And some people are only ever going to do projects. Like some developers are like traditional marketing agencies. Maybe your expertise is like setting up VR in museums. So you're just gonna, every couple months, you're gonna have a new museum project that you're working on, and you need some headsets to deploy in that museum. And Pico's very happy to support you in those smaller orders. There is no minimum order quantity from us. Like if you just needed one headset, we can fulfill that order. We'd obviously prefer if it was 5 or 10 or 20 or 500 or 1,000, but then for the bigger projects, for people who are building, I mean, where Pico finds its best relationships are people who have an idea that starts off small, but has the potential to be like global and life-changing. So those opportunities so far have been in the 3 main industries that I've kind of alluded to. So I'll just be very clear. Medical is a huge, huge market for VR. Like telemedicine has always been on the horizon, but you can look at our announcement that we just made with XR Health, and there are others coming, where you can deploy a headset in a patient home. They go through some kind of application, and at the end it spits out a report that goes to a doctor, and the doctor can just triage, only focus on the patients that they need to focus on who are having problems instead of having to treat everyone equally. So virtual medicine is a great one. Number 2 is everything related to corporate training, onboarding employees, remote work, collaboration, learning. Like there's so much in that bucket, especially because of what's happening with the pandemic. And then right now it's not a big topic, but I hope it returns in the near future, location-based entertainment, where you can, take an older amusement ride, or you talked about in-flight, or you can think about hotel, or you can think about, cinema, and all these environments where being able to offer a premium entertainment experience is really valuable for those operators who are running these locations. So I know in the interest of time, where I have a really, unfortunately, hard stop in like 5 minutes.
All right, okay.
So how else what do you want to close with? What's your best last question?
My best last question. Actually, I was already through with my questions. I had one question left. It was, is there some kind of maintenance contract that companies have to deal with you? Or is it like the one cost, the hardware, and then they're done? Or is there some kind of maintenance?
No, we're very clear. We do not, for the time being, and I think for the foreseeable future, we do not package with our headset any kind of recurring subscription service like a content management or MDM or something. When you buy the headset, you've paid all the money that you need to pay to Pico.
You get the
upfront.
support.
The way that, but to deploy headsets correctly in an enterprise setting, you do need to think about content updating and device management. And so Pico's approach is to try and build the biggest ecosystem possible of content, of partners who will fill those requirements. So we've talked publicly about our relationship with Radix and 42 Gears. There's 2 more MDM partners who will be coming out, who will be announced soon. There's applications like Showtime VR, Sync VR, HeadJack, Mobfish. I mean, there are a lot of developers out there who are trying to make it easy for non-developers to start using VR headsets in a commercial, in an enterprise way.
All right. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Leland. So the Pico 2 and the Pico Neo 2i now on sale, and do get in touch with Leland. I'm going to put your email address down into the description. And again, please, only business inquiries, no VR enthusiasts who would love to have this. This will not be answered.
Let me make one tease for the VR enthusiasts. Pico would like to offer headsets in the future to everyone.
Okay.
We are thinking about ways to partner with companies such as operators, mobile phone operators, who have the infrastructure in place. They have stores. They know how to do billing. They know how to do customer support. So I think in the next couple of years, as 5G, we didn't even talk about, because it wasn't relevant to this call, the XR Viewer initiative that we're a part of. I think there will be consumer devices coming from Pico, but they will be offered to the VR enthusiasts through partnership
operators
or other types of partners like that.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Wonderful tease, and I'm sure everyone is looking forward to try out the devices. Leland, thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to speak to you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Sebastian.
Bye-bye. And that's it for the interview with Leland Hedges, the general manager of Pico Interactive for the EMEA region. Really interesting interview. I believe that we've learned a lot about the Pico Neo 2 and the Pico Neo 2i. If you have any more questions, please do put them into the comment section. And if you want to get in touch with Leland directly, I'm going to put his contact details down into the description as well. And that's it for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If yes, give it a thumbs up. And of course, if you've not yet subscribed to MRTV Business yet, then do so now, and also click on the bell button so that you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. If you directly want to get in touch with me, then also you can do that. I'm working as a consultant for companies who wonder how VR and AR can benefit their business. All the contact details are also down in the description of this video, and I'm absolutely looking forward to speak with you. And that's it. I'm looking forward to see you in the next episode.